In this video, we're going through the top 10 must-have cantrips for your D&D campaign.
Anyways, I started blasting. What's going on, YouTube? I'm the Mind Flayer Slayer.
And I'm Dr. DM, and these are the best of the best cantrips that you will not be able to do without in your campaign for your characters. So let's get right into them, starting with Blade Ward.
An abjuration cantrip with a casting time of 1 action, a range of self. It requires verbal and somatic components. The duration is concentration up to 1 minute. Whenever a creature makes an attack roll against you before the spell ends, the attacker subtracts 1d4 from the attack roll. Your bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards are going to have access to this, and it is certainly a level up from 2014.
You already probably noticed this has changed completely from 2014. Yes. Now it's gotten a huge buff. It used to be only lasted 1 round and was not very good. But now what's pretty cool is this works for anybody, even like a fighter or a frontliner that doesn't necessarily get spellcasting. You can take this with a magic initiate and get this. You have no other reason to use concentration. Boom, you can have essentially a plus 2.5 roughly AC from just having Blade Ward on for yourself.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this.
If you can cast this, for example, before combat, huge for you. Even in combat, if you have a way to do like extra cantrips while you attack, for example, Valor Bard or Eldritch Knight, get that in there, get your AC up for free. Use of concentration that you normally wouldn't otherwise need.
100%. Next up, we've got the fan favorite, the best and the blastiest, Eldritch Blast. It is an evocation cantrip with a casting time of 1 action, a range of 120 feet, requiring verbal and somatic components, and the duration is instantaneous. You hurl a beam of crackling energy, make a ranged spell attack against 1 creature or object in range. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage.
There's also the cantrip upgrade, which most cantrips get. The spell creates 2 beams at level 5, 3 at level 11, and 4 at level 17. You can direct the beams at the same or different targets, making separate attack rolls for each one. Eldritch Blast is back, has not been nerfed, has not been buffed. It doesn't matter because it's so strong. When you have the individual beams and you're doing things like agonizing blast, invocations, you're adding bonuses to every single beam. The damage stacks up tremendously.
It's so good, it's just gonna blast your face off!
And adding any extra damage riders, like Hex, things like that, onto this spell just levels it up, and it levels exponentially as far as power. You can't go wrong with Eldritch Blast. People multi-class just for this spell.
Multi-class Warlock.
Yeah, and it is a tremendous spell that comes back. Take it, whether you're a Warlock or not, try to get it. And Guidance, it's back as well.
The divination cantrip with a casting time of 1 action, a range of touch, verbal and somatic components required, and concentration up to 1 minute. You touch a willing creature and you choose a skill. Until the spell ends, the creature adds 1d4 to any ability check using the chosen skill. Artificers, clerics, and druids have access to guidance.
Yeah, and guidance is a staple, really. You probably want to make sure that everybody, or at least one person in your party, has guidance. It's
Absolutely.
Good. Yeah, it makes your ability checks that much better. It's an average of like a 2.5 bonus for basically every single one. And here's the thing I'll say. Yes, this is a very, very exceptionally powerful cantrip. It's like nothing cost to increase all the skill checks for your whole party, but it also is annoying. It's like Ristic Study.
It is. It is the Ristic Study. It is the Ristic Study of D&D.
I give you guidance. You want guidance? Roll the extra
You get
D4.
guidance,
I
yes.
have guidance. You have guidance. So is it powerful? Yes. Is it annoying? It can be. So just make sure you're using it when it's applicable.
Try to use it before things happen. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to give you guidance.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't make your DM hate you.
Yeah. Or you can also flavor it cool, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help too. Like say, I go over and whisper something in your ear, or, throw a little stone at your head or something. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Flavor is everything.
That's right. For all of these spells that we've looked at, make it for yourself, make it unique, make it part of the narrative, make Eldritch Blast look like, spell notes if you're a bard, for example.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Next up, we've got Mage Hand for all you tricky rogues out there. It is a conjuration cantrip with a casting time of 1 action and a range of 30 feet, requiring verbal and somatic components and a duration of 1 minute. A spectral floating hand appears at a point you choose within range. The hand lasts for the duration. The hand vanishes if it is ever more than 30 feet away from you, or if you cast the spell again. When you cast a spell, you can use the hand to manipulate an object, open an unlocked door or container, traps, stow or retrieve an item from an open container, or pour the contents out of a vial. As a magic action on your later turns, you can control the hand thus again. As part of that action, you can move the hand up to 30 feet. The hand cannot attack, activate magic items, or carry more than 10 pounds. Artificers, bards, sorcerers, wizards, and warlocks all have access to this wonderful spell. And there are certain subclasses that give you the ability to make it even more powerful.
Yeah, for example, Arcane Trickster.
Correct.
Among others. Here's what's interesting and so good about Mage Hand is that essentially it's a free way for you to tackle a lot of puzzles, a lot of traps, without having to get you or your party in danger, right? Open the door 30 feet away, or trigger a trap, like we just said, or check down a hallway. It kind of replaces the 10-foot pole in a way. And for free, you can have it up pretty much all the time. It's a little game-breaking that way. It kind of breaks non-combat encounters, even combat encounters, depending on what you do. We've had people like tie shoelaces, things like that.
But remember, if you don't have those extra abilities that make it different, it is visible. It is a visible, spectral, floating hand. So don't just think you have this magic hand that's invisible and you can do so. There are certain subclasses that can do that, but not everybody.
That's true. But overall, this is for a cantrip, very darn powerful. Definitely have somebody in your party take this because it'll be worth it to save you headaches, blood, sweat, and maybe even tears.
Yes. Up next, we've got Sliver. It is an enchantment cantrip with a casting time of 1 action and a range of 60 feet. The components are only verbal and its duration is instantaneous. You try to temporarily sliver the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of the next turn. The cantrip upgrade for this is the damage increases by 1d6 when you reach levels 5, so it'll be 2d6. At levels 11, it'll be 3d6, and at 17, it will be 4d6. Sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards all have access to this wonderful cantrip.
Okay, it doesn't have, as you've seen, a ton of power, right? It is not an Eldritch Blast.
No.
But here's what it does. It is very debilitating for a cantrip. It still has damage, and minus 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes is really good. Now, when you think about it, a saving throw is different than giving somebody minus 1d4, for example, to their next attack, because sometimes creatures have multiple attacks. However, a saving throw is one thing that can be very detrimental, like a hold person, hold monsters. You want those things to happen exactly on your big bad and the big boss. So having a cantrip that debuffs this way is very strong. It's like a minus 2.5 to their saving throw to make that your next person on your team or you have something really important, really impactful happen with a very strong spell.
Especially if you're someone like a sorcerer who can quicken a spell. You want to do Sliver first as your action. Your bonus action ends up being your fireball.
Incredible. Or something else. We said hold person, hold monster, dominate, whatever it is.
I have done some crazy stuff with this before.
Really good one. So you have a whole bevy of cantrips you usually choose, right? Have 3, 4, 5, 6. Make this one of your main ones, if not, at least a backup one. So 100%. Awesome cantrip.
Up next, we've got another fan favorite. Minor Illusion is an illusion cantrip with a casting time of 1 action and 30-foot range. You have somatic and material components, which is a bit of fleece. The duration is 1 minute. You create a sound or an image of an object within range that lasts for the duration. If a creature takes a study action to examine the sound or image, the creature can determine that it is an illusion with a successful intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC. If a creature discerns the illusion for what it is, the illusion becomes faint to the creature. This is given to bards, sorcerers, warlocks, wizards. You can make boxes out of this. You can make sounds out of this. You can...
Can I tell the secret of what makes this extra strong? Because there are other spells and cantrips like this, like Prestidigitation and other ones like that, which have similar effects. Like Elementalism is one of the new ones too, but not this. Why? Because this has no verbal component. So you can do this, unlike many other spells and cantrips, you don't have to say a darn thing to have this work. So you can make an illusion and no one knows you're doing it, right? You just kind of do a little bit of trickery over here with a little bit of parlor tricks, and it happens. So I think this is my favorite roleplay version of this spell, especially because of the no verbal components.
Yeah, it's really good.
In addition, there is the new subclass, the Illusionist Wizard, that makes this go to the next level as far as power, to really make these illusions real.
Yeah, it's
pretty good.
It's incredible. It always has been. It always will be. If you can choose one, pick this one first. What can I say? And next we have Shillelagh, a transmutation cantrip with the casting time of a bonus action. The range of touch, verbal, somatic, and material components of mistletoe are required. The duration is 1 minute. A club or quarterstaff you're holding is imbued with nature's power. For the duration, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of your strength for the attack and damage rolls of melee attacks using this weapon, and the weapon's damage die becomes a d8. If the attack deals damage, it can be force damage or the weapon's normal damage type.
And it now upgrades, which it didn't used to do in this way. The damage dice changes when you reach level 5, becomes a d10, d12 at level 11, and a 2d6, which is greatsword damage, the biggest die type there is, at level 17 for classes of Druid. Or you can take Magic Initiate Druid and get this for any class that you want. Now, this is a build-defining cantrip.
And you can stack it on that new crazy quarterstaff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a lot of magic items to go with this. And what makes this even better than all that is that you have now a character which can now dump strength and make your charisma or wisdom or intelligence your main attack attribute, which is really good because now you're less dependent on so many stats and you can really focus on your character. So
hone in.
This is such a good build around and just a really good.
It always has been, but the fact that it now increases in power is just out of this world.
And force damage
out
too.
Of this world.
Really good cantrip. Take it, multi-class into it, take initiate for it. It's going to make your character level up.
Up next, we've got Sorcerer's Burst. It is an evocation cantrip with a casting time of 1 action and a range of 120 feet, requiring verbal and somatic components, and its duration is instantaneous. You cast Sorcerer's Energy at one creature or object within range, make a ranged attack roll against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 damage of a type you choose: acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, psychic, or thunder.
Incredible.
If you roll an 8 on a d8 for this cast, you can roll another d8 and add it to the damage. When you cast this spell, the maximum number of these d8s you can add to the spell's damage equals your spellcasting ability modifier.
Up to like 5 d8s if you do it.
Crazy.
And it upgrades, so you get an extra d8 too, just to begin with. At level 5, the 2 d8s, 11, 3 d8s, and 17, 48. And each one of those that you roll
gets an extra d8 possibility.
If you get an 8 on it, then you roll that. So you can stack a lot of damage pretty quickly with this. And if you have the right subclass, like Chronic Sorcerer, you can still add your charisma to this as well. And you can choose any damage type, really all the damage types. So if you know what you're going up against, you can hit their vulnerability.
This is what we needed for sorcerers. It is incredibly powerful. It does a lot of work. It is a huge upgrade to their toolkit.
Agreed. And the last thing is, with Sorcerer, you get innate sorcery, I think it is, which powers you up, and all your spell attacks at an advantage. So you're rolling this at advantage, so you even have a chance to like crit more often.
Yep.
A great spell for your Sorcerer. Take it, you're gonna have a ton of fun and do good damage at the table. Up next, we have Starry Wisp. This is Evocation Cantrip. Action casting time, 60 feet range, verbal somatic, and the duration instantaneous. You launch a mode of light at one creature object within range, make a ranged spell attack against the creature. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 radiant damage until the end of your next turn. It emits dim light in a 10-foot radius and can benefit from invisible. Really good. Damage increases by 1d8 at 5th, 11th, and 17th level. So
Bards and Druids, yeah.
This is an upgrade for Bards and Druids.
Huge.
They, for example, Bard just had, I think their best cantrip was like Vicious Mockery or something for like 1d6. The damage has gone up. Really good range on these.
Radiant.
Radiant damage, that's right. And an extra effect, which is no invisibility, which comes in handy at higher levels.
Oh, for sure. This could really have some game-breaking moments in a campaign. I love this. I'm so glad when we get something that really, really gives a class that extra oomph.
Yeah, which it needed, for sure.
And finally, we have True Strike. It is a divination cantrip with a casting time of 1 action, a range of self. It requires somatic and material components, which would be a weapon with which you have proficiency that is worth at least 1 copper piece, and the duration is instantaneous.
So, guided by a flash of magical insight, you make 1 attack with the weapon used by the spell's casting. The attack uses your spellcasting ability for the attack and damage rolls instead of strength or dex. Really good. If the attack deals damage, it can be radiant once again, or its normal type. And now it upgrades, dealing extra radiant damage at 5th level, 1d6, 11th level, 2d6, 17th level, 3d6, and you're adding those to the base weapon damage. So if you're doing like a great sword, you're doing 2d6 plus 3d6, and that's just one of your attacks if you are the right subclass that uses a cantrip as just one of your attacks, like a Eldritch Knight, a Valor Bard. Really, this is like a premier Gish cantrip. You want to have this if you're going to be that spellcaster, that Spellblade. This is it. Your damage is going to go up exponentially.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It really is. And it's available for your bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards.
Yep. You can also take this with Magic Initiate, and you'll probably want to. You see this as part of a lot of builds now, and because it's really just that good. True Strike, it's the upgrade from Green Flame Blade from 2014. Take it for your frontliners. It's going to do you good.
Okay, so this has been our coverage of all of the best cantrips from the D&D 2024 Player's Handbook. Please let us know if we missed any that you love, what you think of the ones that we selected. Write it in the comments down below. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for watching. Power up your game.
We'll see you next time.